and welcome to Book 101 Review. Book 101 is about the books that I read for the last 40 years, and today I have my special guest. He is a financial independence strategist as well as early retirement expert, and of course, an author too, and the author of the book Escape the Clock, your program guide for financial freedom and early retirement. No other than Mr. Daniel C. Rogers.
Great. Thanks for having me. Happy to be here.
Welcome, Mr. Daniel, on Book 101 Review. And can you please introduce more about yourself that I miss?
Yeah, happy to. Like you said, my name is Daniel C. Rodgers. I wrote the book you see here, Escape the Clock. This was a book I didn't really set out to write, but I had been running a program to achieve financial independence when I had started my journey, as all of us do, trying to do the best you can with life and realizing very quickly that I was very undereducated and really struggling to get ahead. I kind of felt like I was trying to do all the right things. I was teaching myself, but I really wasn't making good progress, had a lot of debt, was making some mistakes, and just trying to figure out would I have to work forever? And the idea of working until my mid to late 60s was not very appealing to me. And so I wanted to figure things out and do the best for my family. And so I ended up beating my goal, retiring early at the age of 43. I was aiming for 45. And when I retired, I, got some attention for it. And people were asking me how I was able to accomplish that, especially since so many of the people out where I live and after some of the moves I made, were really better off than I was with, salary and things like that. But I said, why don't I try to capture that for folks? I had lots of amazing conversations. People were really interested to have like a guidebook for it. And I sat down and I really put my heart and soul into it because I had 20 years of self-education, under my belt at that point. And I decided, hey, I wanted this to be the comprehensive thing. I don't want it just to be me just putting out regurgitating information. So I went and I talked to people from all the different sectors, and I tried to understand all the different financial strategies that you can have because the journey is very personal. And at the end of the day, I was a program manager, which means I ran programs at the biggest companies in the world, helping them take up these really difficult, complex goals and breaking them apart into easy steps that hundreds of people could move against. And it really takes and disambiguates something so that you can at least feel like the uncertainty is not blocking you and slowing you down to help you get to your goals. So I did that for my own financial independence. And I realized all of these books I read, they're great. They teach a good strategy here or there. They have great philosophies. They are kind of self-helpy, but they don't really teach you how to make the plan, the thing that's going to get you across the finish line. So I realized that's what people were asking for. They weren't asking for yet another finance book. They were asking for, how did you make your plan and how do I go and make that plan for myself? And that's what I created. I took all those great strategies from all those books I read, I packaged them up as project ideas, and you basically pull the projects in scope that makes sense for you so that you can get to your finish line as quick and as comfortable as you are looking to do it. And that became Escape the Clock.
Yes, and thank you so much for sharing your knowledge and wisdom to the world, Mr. Daniel. Thank you. So let's start with the title itself, Escape the Clock. This is about more than money. It's about time. How does shifting the goal from being rich to being a free change everything about the approach?
Yeah, a lot of people think of money and they think of wealth, especially in the United States where we live in a status driven system where people will literally spend money they don't have to kind of show a status of doing well. But the truth is, especially as you kind of get older and hopefully a little more wiser, you realize there's a certain standard to the life you want to live. And there's a quantifiable amount that you need to live that life. And once you understand what quote unquote enough is, well, the math is easy. Then it comes down to having having the right strategies that can accelerate you there to your risk tolerance, your risk capacity, your personal preferences. So for me, I realized working at these jobs as amazing as they were in the many different ways. I had done really well. I had achieved promotions. I had a great title. I had a great team. I was very motivated at what I did. But I didn't have was my time. And my son was going to be moving out and going to college, and I was missing precious days with him. I was realizing I wasn't spending as much time with my spouse, and we weren't going out and doing stuff as much because you give everything to work. It'll take as much as you give, and then you're got nothing left in the tank. You come home and you're kind of exhausted, and the quality time isn't exactly quality at that point. Plus, all of your personal goals, they all get put on the back burner. So your time is a type of currency, and it's not one that is, it's one that we give away. We just give our time away all the time. When we have a family, we're usually giving our time away. When we have a job, we're giving our time away. Now, it's not like we're just giving it altruistically, like we're getting it to get something back, right? But at some point when it comes to a job, it's just so demanding. And the way you're giving your time is usually on the agenda of the corporation or whatever it is that you're doing. And if you love your job and that's quality time and it's fulfilling, you're really lucky. But that's not going to last forever. Nothing lasts forever. At some point, you have to think about your life outside of work. And what I realized was by having ran my program for financial freedom, when I talked to people who hadn't, they felt very trapped. I felt like I was working towards like an exit, and I would have the option to either work or not work. And that's what's powerful about this. It's not about retiring, the words in the title, but it's really not about that. It's about making work optional so that when you hit your number, because you know exactly you have the right money in the right places, that you can sustain the life you want to live. And that doesn't mean you have to have, tens of millions of dollars. Not at all. You can have a much lower income based on a much lower standard of life that you're looking to live and accomplish that number. So it's about the size of the life we want to live, and knowing that as soon as we can calculate that, it empowers us to make moves to get to that number. And then once we're at that number, we have the option of having our time back. And I will argue, because I've made the transition, once you decide to quit work, it's not like your life stops and you're sitting on a beach and you're relaxing. You could do that if you want. But what I found is your life really starts beginning, because you start using all the time that you got back to start doing the things that you've always dreamt of doing, and you're young enough and you still have the energy and you have your health, hopefully, so you can go and pursue those things. And that's really, really exciting.
What is the most common limiting belief or mental trap you see that keeps people chained to the traditional 40-year career path, even they are unhappy?
I think there's two things there. I think one is there's the system itself, which is very designed to keep us tethered to work. And then there's our personal psychologies, our identity, and things that we will tether into it because we want to do well. We want to be seen as successful. We're trying to achieve something. We want to have purpose. And when we're younger, our purpose is so defined by the job that we work because we're too young to know what our greater purpose is yet. We're still figuring out who we are. And so when the system is designed to have this kind of on ramp to a job or career, well, some people will thrash around quite a bit. They'll try a job and they'll go, oh, that's not it. That's not clicking. And they'll jump to maybe a whole different profession, maybe go back to school, get a different degree, do something wildly different, or maybe just, decide I'll just be unhappy in what I'm in. And that's really sad because I think the system, it can feel it is an unfair system. And it's one that tries to keep you there as long as possible. And look, I ended up working at companies like Google by the end of my career, and companies like that you think of as a dream job. In a lot of ways, it is. Working at like a Google, Microsoft, some of the places I work, they're amazing. But I can tell you, they are designed to keep you at work as well. So there's this concept of a golden handcuff, which is the reason you're working is to provide security. You're getting a paycheck and you're using that to be able to provide security to yourself and to your family and the life you are hoping to live. Well, they know you need that paycheck, right? And so there's always this kind of thing over your head of, okay, well, if we want that, you want to keep getting the baseline paycheck, you got to do the minimum job, which, the bar is usually literally written down as in a career ladder. If you want to do even better, well, now you have to really rise beyond. You have to do all this extra stuff if you want that promotion or that bonus. Well, guess what? If you did all that, you got that promotion. Well, that's the new baseline. And so it's like being on a treadmill where you're constantly being forced to turn up the speed all the time. Now you're mastering running while you're doing it. So you get better at running and it helps you handle those speeds, but it is exhausting. And you can get to a point where like, I really just want to get off this treadmill. But like I mentioned, working at a place like Google, they don't just keep you there by the paycheck. They do it by the benefits. They do it by the amenities. So for instance, at Google, they offer a gym, laundry service, massage services, free breakfast, lunch, and dinner. That sounds amazing. And almost like, why would you ever leave a job like that? Well, think about what their incentive is to spend all the money that they're spending instead of passing it back to their shareholders or passing it or keeping it for themselves. They're doing that because people will stay at work all day. They'll work maybe even on a weekend. They make it so work just feels like the default. And believe me, there's more work than any group can possibly do. I was a product manager for a while. So I was responsible for the backlog, all the work that had to be done. And you fill that thing up for years. Your roadmap runs for years and years and years and years out. And not only is there so much work that you could run for years without stopping, but you're not even confident that's the right work to do. There's all these forks in the road. So sometimes you'll run for a year or two on something, and then it's like, oh, okay, guess that isn't the right way. We should have gone a different way. Cancel that, go a different direction. Well, that's a punch to the gut. You just put your heart and soul into something. Now you just pivoted. That can feel really rough and can hurt your morale. Well, the system is designed to kind of keep you there until retirement benefits can kick in, and then you can stop. And they will cut you loose at some point, either through layoffs or forced retirement. So you don't get to work there forever. Well, the system used to be, if you're loyal to a company for 40 years, they'd give you a pension in the United States. They would say, we will take care of you. We know there's a salary that you were depending on from us. We will make sure you have that salary. Well, those have mostly gone away. So the 401k and IRAs are now the options, but for most people, they are insufficient. 401ks are not showing to be sufficient. That, even if you're getting your company match, you have to look at, is it growing at a rate? One, did you make sure you're investing it? Are you investing it to your goals? Do you know what your goals are? And is it growing to a rate that it will take care of however many years you need when you do stop working? And I will mention layoffs have been really big. Like that's like having the rug ripped out from under your feet. If you're in a layoff situation, you might go, I don't know if I want to go back to work, or I don't know if I can go back to work. The industry might have shifted. Do I have the money to survive? Am I okay? That is scary. And it's a wake up call for a lot of people. So working towards financial independence, it should be like a now thing for everyone. One, because it gives you more security than you can ever get from any job. No job is going to give you that much security. And two, it's something that will give you the choice, and having the choice is everything, especially when you're like push comes to shove. So I think it's a system. And then the other part was the psychology. And I mentioned we put our identity into our jobs. And that's because so many of us live in the United States, live in a system of comparativeness. Compare yourself to a celebrity, to a friend, to a coworker, to anyone. And when we're constantly comparing ourselves, and the system is designed to compare us in a performance review, you versus your teammate, you versus whoever, then all that does is, you could argue, brings out the best in people. We do the best ahead. But really, when you have unfair biases and stuff in that system, it can feel really rough, and it forces us to push on behaviors that really entangle us more into what we're doing. It can feel frustrating. We can get sour or feel like the job is toxic, or we can feel empowered and excited because it's working. And either way, it can feel like a little bit like a trap, because when it's working, you feel like, I need this. What would I be without this? If I didn't have this job or that prestige or that reward, Who am I? What is my purpose? And if it's not working, you go, I have to do this. I don't really have another choice. Who am I? I'm nothing. I can't, I'm not even getting recognition from this thing I'm putting all my time into. So I guess that was a long way of saying, like, once you experience financial freedom and you have your time back, and you then you know what your real purpose or goals in life are, and you have the time to pursue them, that purpose, that identity, once you're free of that system, that is one where you can be your most authentic and genuine self, focusing on relationships, focusing on health, focus on security, and ultimately just focus on thriving, which is what I hope everyone can get to.
Yes, don't compare to yourself to other people and thrive. As Mr. Daniel talking about, you talk about financial freedom as a program guide, that this requires people to become someone they are not. A frugal, spreadsheet obsessed minimalist, or can they build this path with their own personality and values intact?
Yeah, you don't have to be some kind of like spreadsheet aficionado to do this. Not at all. What it does
Mhm.
come down though is you do have to do a little bit of an introspection to understand who you are and what you want. So that thought exercise has to happen, and how you want to capture that is up to you. It does not have to be in a spreadsheet. It could be in a dream journal. It doesn't matter. You just have to you have to have gone through that journey. And once you do, having a spreadsheet or dashboard report, that's great. That can really helpful, because when you have that kind of thing, it makes it easier for you to bring other people into your journey. Imagine you go to a financial advisor, you have that spreadsheet, they can see clearly where you stand, what you're trying to do. You can have a more constructive conversation with a spouse. The same idea. You can work collaboratively on it and kind of hone it into something that represents your shared goals. You don't have to do that though, but if you did see the power in that, I wanted to make it easy for people. I, having spent my career, doing that kind of thing and building plans, I realized you need tools for that. So I took mine and I just basically made it into a template and I put it up on my website, for anyone to use for free. Because I know a lot of the times what you're paying for when you pay for a financial advisor is not always the financial advice. You get a little bit of that. A lot of times it's because they have the tool, they have the spreadsheets, they have the things that they're running to show you the reports and stuff, and to show you how you're doing. Once you have that tool, now you have the full ability to do it for yourself. And I promise you, the most biased person for your success is you. There is nobody else. Nobody will care more than you do. And if you're the one that's hands on in there, you will outlast every finance advisor. You will outlast any plan change. Just Fidelity had done this survey that said that you're 60% more successful towards your goals if you just have a plan, just having written down anything. So there's an amazing thing with going through making a plan. Doesn't have to be a spreadsheet, but just doing the exercise is so important. So I tried to teach the tools on how to make a good one, but honestly, just dream about what you're trying to do, run your numbers, know where you stand, and then from there, you're setting yourself apart.
Well done, Mr. Daniel. Truly, truly well done job. And what your short-term and long-term goals as an author, as well as a financial independence strategy and early retirement expert.
Yeah, like I mentioned, I didn't really set to do this. It just kind of stumbled on this, and it's been helping people, so I've kept it going. I now do a podcast where I basically break down these things every week. So it's ad free, a podcast on every major platform called Escape the Clock. It's easy to find. You can also find it at the website at escapetheclock.com/podcast. Yeah, like my goal is just to get the information out there. So I actually went back to school just so I could see if I missed anything. And I'm close to getting my degree as a wealth manager now. I have one more course to go through. And I've just been doing free one-on-one consultations online, which anyone can sign up for on my website. I now teach financial literacy within my home state of Washington. I've been teaching at like libraries and high schools and things like that through a nonprofit. That's been a lot of fun. But my early retirement wasn't just all supposed to be about this. So I'm spending a lot of it on with my personal goals, which is really been around writing. I have my first science fiction novel About to finish edits and go out. That should be in the next month. And then I'm also been working at sport. I enjoy playing billiards. I've been in a league. I started a team, and I'm just trying to become the best, competitive pool player I could be. And that's just what it's about. It's about whatever makes you happy, whatever's fun, and of course, my health goals, my time with family, and reconnecting with friends. And I will say, on a social level, on a health level, financial level, just all those, it just never felt like things have ever been so well. And it's just because I did the work to get a plan together, and I was able to accomplish it. And anyone can do that, which is what's amazing about it.
Yes, good luck to your goals, Mr. Daniel, and looking forward for more success. And what will be your piece of advice for those people out there want to be like you?
I would just say don't run on autopilot. It's very easy to just keep going through the motions all the time. Even if you were just to go and do one thing today, one action that's different. It doesn't have to be to buy this book. Even though I try to make sure if you did get this book, is as helpful as possible. It could just be to check out the website, or even to sign up with the newsletter on my site, or it could be to schedule time with me just to have a conversation. It doesn't have to be with me. Go talk to your trusted partner, your best friend, you're a parent, anybody, just about finances, because the truth is your financial future is important, and it doesn't have to be a secret. Whatever's going on, there's a way to fix everything. I've had episodes where I talk about how to deal with massive debt, how to figure out how to actually get a positive return from a savings account, how to get into investing if you've never done that, how to think about real estate. I've touched on every topic at this point in my podcast, so that's a great resource. But if you don't want education from me, completely fine. There's plenty of stuff out there. Go find something, because as soon as you start to educate yourself, you will be taking the right step towards having more control and a more comfortable future.
Well, thank you for that advice, Mr. Daniel. And can you please recommend a book or books that influence your journey?
Oh wow, yeah. I've read so many books in this category. I will probably recommend the one that I think left the biggest impression on me, which is called "The Five Types of Wealth" by Sahil Bloom. It's well, the reason I really liked that book was because it was approachable, but he talks about a lot of the things that are bigger than just the money stuff, the relationships and the health. Because like health is a great example. I start my book with a lot of the regrets people have when they stay on autopilot and they end up in a forced layoff or retirement situation. And in the top five things is health, being not having the health you wanted. You have the money, but you don't have the health, and you feel like you can't do the things you wanted. So that's one of the five types of wealth. Having your time back means you can focus on your health. It means less stress, stuff like that. So yeah, five types of wealth is good. If you're people looking for other money books, I would also recommend The Next Door Millionaire. Also, Mind Over Money by Brad Contz. That's a really great one. It gets into the psychology of why we act the way we do with money, including how it starts in our childhood when our values is formed, and how we don't even realize we're doing it as we go through adults. Lots of great books out there. Happy to recommend more. If listeners would like to hear more recommendations, I can give a good list.
Yes. Thank you for the recommended books, Mr. Daniel. And for listeners who inspired but feels overwhelmed, what is the one small concrete step they can take this week to start their journey?
Uh, okay, the small step would be to look at your savings account rate. Are you getting anything close to inflation? You might go, well, what's inflation? Costs are always rising. We now in the United States, we're seeing an unprecedented amount of inflation, and the dollar weakening or whatnot. Regardless of knowing all that stuff, if you're getting anything back, and if you think you're saving, but you're getting anything back less than inflation, if you're getting anything back under 3.5% right now, you're actually losing money in your savings account. That's exactly what's happening. You're getting a negative return. You're losing money because costs are going up more than what you're saving. So the first easy thing is just move away from those low interest savings accounts. There's tons of high interest savings account options out there. Just do a search for high yield savings account. You'll see some of them will have large minimum balances, but not all of them. Shop around. I'm sure you can find something. Move your money to one of those. Don't feel stuck in the bank you're in just because you're in it. Any bank credit union will have FDIC insurance, meaning they'll protect that money up to $250,000, and you can get an actual return, and your money will actually start growing. And that is such an easy step. Just move the money. Now, if you want a bigger, more impactful step, look at your spending. And I think you're going to hear this a lot of finance people say this, but you can't have blinders up. And this one takes a little bit more, can be a little gut punch sometimes, but just go look at it. You can dump it into a sheet, or you can just look at it in your credit card statement in your bank account. That will, I promise you, incite some idea in your mind. It could be to cancel a subscription. It could be to, you might see a duplicate. You might see something on the wrong kind of card. You can see all kinds of things. And that is the first step towards creating a budget for yourself. Because once you see, oh, I'm throwing money away, well, now you will start to save money, because spending and saving, those are the two things. And investing is like an accelerated way to save. So those are kind of some of the aspects I would mention. Just look at your interest rates and also your credit card. If your credit card rate, and I think it's criminal in this company, but a lot of credit card rates are 25% or higher, I look for a lower one, because you can use a calculator on my website or anywhere else, and you can see how much that is hurting you and how much money you could start saving because you're not throwing that into interest through credit cards. So those are, you asked for one, I give three, but that's where I would start.
Yes, and thank you so much for that. And Mr. Daniel, before we wrap up our discussion for today, I'm inviting you to please do listen to my other podcast, people. My other podcast, because my abstract essay is already in fifth season, abstract poetry second season, and my book 101 review in fifth season too, comedy 101 second season, and my food 101 in fifth season as well, geography 101, love letters, movie 101 review, and music 101 our fourth season, science 101, sex 101 in second season of my baby podcast, law 101, and mental health 101, and Bible verses 101. Please listen to them wherever you listen your podcast. So, Mr. Daniel, finally, what is the most profound personal transformation beyond the financial numbers that you witness in some who successfully escaped the clock?
I think it's just to be how much patience I personally bring to my relationships. Like once I made a transition, I found my relationships with my wife, with my children, with my friends, with strangers have all become easier. I think it's just this profound thing. I put effort into that. I remember talking to therapists trying to figure out, oh, I don't understand why it's so hard, and I know it's me. I need to figure out how to take this growth journey, and I just couldn't get quite where I wanted. And then as soon as I escaped the clock, it kind of just magically happened. And so maybe it was stress, maybe it was spiritual, maybe it was something else. Don't know, but what I can tell you is it's had a significant improvement in the quality of my life, because your relationships are kind of everything.
Yes, and thank you so much for sharing your knowledge and wisdom to the world, Mr. Daniel. So can you please invite our listeners to support your book, your advocacy, or whatever projects that you're doing right now, and for sure the podcast itself?
Yeah, please visit escapetheclock.com, all one word. You find the book there. You can find my podcast there. I also have a YouTube series where I teach people how to use the tool. You can find the planner I mentioned, schedule time, or just some other free resources. Just want to make it easy for everyone. So you can also sign up for a newsletter where I give out free information every week. And thank you so much. And I'm hoping I can help.
Yes, people, let's support Mr. Daniel Rodgers, because if you support him, for sure more and more empowering books like this to come, more and more empowering episodes of the podcast itself. So, Mr. Daniel, thank you so much for your time.
Thank you, Daniel. Appreciate you having me.